So it's perfect that the last group talked about interstellar, because I am going to talk to you about the possibility of having DWeb Interplanetary camps in the future. So this is an idea that kind of bubbled up in 2021, and I had a conversation with Wendy Hanamura about it. And I'm really appreciative that this is the last talk of the conference, and that now we can kind of look ahead and say, if we let our imaginations run wild, what could actually be created here? So I'm using an example of Kitt Peak, which is an observatory in southern Arizona. They have 27 telescopes, and there's basically three proposals that I'm going to lay out for you. Number one is, what would it look like if we had a constellation of observatories around the world that were the sites for DWeb camps in the future, and we were able to connect all those observatories and have all the fun of looking through telescopes and all that sort of thing. So let's take a look. And I assert that interplanetary is the ultimate decentralization. And so if it's the ultimate decentralization, and we have the interplanetary file system, which I understand is now being implemented in space, actually, and we've got these initiatives like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and so forth, can we incorporate this into future DWeb camps? Kitt Peak, I think, is a prime location for DWeb Interplanetary Camp, maybe as a prototype. It's, what are the opportunities and challenges if we experimented with this in 2023, 2024? So that's what we're talking about. This is a bit on Kitt Peak. This is an image of the 27 telescopes. It's on 200 acres. And here is a video that you can watch, and this is linked. This presentation is linked in the SCED. And this is part 2, because there is a company in Tucson. In fact, I think there are multiple companies that are launching space tourism using various means, but this particular company has a pod attached to a balloon that will take people up to about 125,000 feet for about 6 to 8 hours. You can have dinner, you can have drinks at the, way above all your friends and family, at the highest space needle in Seattle or whatever. That's nowhere. And they also incorporate a 2 or 3 day trip to the Grand Canyon with this. So it's only $50,000, and the good news is I have a coupon for $10,000 off, so it's only $40,000. And I'm not actually kidding about that. Anyway, so this is a video that you can watch on this. And here's a video. I had about a 30-minute plus conversation with Wendy Hanamura talking about this in 2021, and we talked about some of the dimensions of it, and you can watch that at your leisure. So there's additional material. I won't go into it, but I've done calculations on what it takes to fly from various points to get to Tucson and so forth. And it's not necessarily Tucson and Kitt Peak. This could be launched at Mount Wilson outside of LA. There's numerous observatories around the world. So this is an idea just to kind of throw out there. Now the third part, besides, hey, let's consider observatories as a location for distributed DWeb camps, and 2, could we incorporate space tourism into the mix? But the third is, and this is something I'm really, really passionate about, is could we start to incorporate parent-youth teams from various parts of the world that are invited to participate in DWeb Camp, whether it's in observatories or near observatories or just in general. What would it look like if we started to foster like a parent-youth activity and element to this? So I'm going to stop at this point, ask if there's any questions, and throw it out there to the community to consider for future DWeb camps.
Thanks, Jay. Questions?
I hope if there is a DWeb camp in an observatory, we get to look through
Oh yeah,
the big telescope. Like that would be an important part of it. Yeah.
that'd be in it.
Or even like do like some like hacky weekend science with it. Oh my god, that would be the coolest shit. I don't know if you could get the astronomers to agree to it, but it would be very cool.
Well, here's some images of the actual site, and they do have, the University of Arizona is an optics hotbed for space. They make the mirrors for like the James Webb and all that stuff. So there is a wealth of talent and resources associated with Tucson. Now I imagine there's similar resources that are connected to observatories around the world. So I think we could definitely do hacking that has an interplanetary and stellar.
You know,
Yes.
what actually be a good intro part of that is that Portland State University actually has a space rocketry club, which is one of the only non-corporate, non-governmental things to like pass that line that design space or something like that. So there's stuff out there for like hacker space stuff. I think that would be a very cool theme.
I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
What is the accommodation, like how many people could come to an interplanetary camp and stay together on site?
they do have dormitories here, and they have facilities similar to the Hacker Hall and so forth. So I think it's a matter of, we might have to bring in accommodations like, motorhomes, Airstreams, whatever. And I think there's also a possibility of providing air transportation from the top of the mountain to maybe Tucson or other mountains, or rafting in the Grand Canyon, or there's a really cool world-class art installation called Rodin Crater that is just outside of Flagstaff, and there's an observatory in Flagstaff. So, my imagination kind of went wild with this, and so the accommodations I think could be worked out. We wouldn't necessarily have to stay on top of at the observatories, but I think with our imagination, if we can imagine this, we can work out the accommodations. Does that make sense, Molly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the worldview thing, that literally is actively sending people to space, or it's like a design for
It'll launch in 2024, I think. So, and you can see a video. There's a video
On the
incorporated.
website, too.
Yeah, it's on the website. And I don't think they're the only ones that are offering various forms of space tourism. So
Yeah, they're already taking reservations, I think, aren't they?
they are taking reservations. So, yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks so much.